This is Dr. Gary making good bosses into great leaders with compassionate accountability. Mother's Day was just this past weekend. Unfortunately, my mom's 5 sons couldn't see her. At 91 years old, she's in lockdown. But of course, she didn't even realize that she's in lockdown because she's been suffering with mental deterioration like so many people in their 90s. Such is our lives today. No matter what happens, things are changing, shifting, and uncertain by the moment. With this uncertainty and threats, we can sometimes react rather than respond. And the threat causes the lizard part of our brain, that short circuit that goes off to fight, flight, or freeze. Out of fear, we jump into survival mode. But as an executive, you cannot react and go into fight, flight, or freeze. If you do, it'll be destructive to your organization, your company, your team, if it's directed internally. In my military experience, I saw how people were trained for years to prepare for these moments of high stress, decisiveness. And without this development, most leaders will make enormous errors, and the mistakes made will be magnified to a level of potential self-destruction. So what can we do? What can we do to develop leaders right now to be decisive, empathic, and comprehensive in thought? Well, I'm going to use an assumption. 2 heads are better than 1. So the companies that we're working with have not stopped developing their leaders. In some cases, they've increased the amount of coaching to help leaders through this situation because they know that experience alone is a horrible teacher, and they believe 2 heads are better than 1. Our definition of leadership is the ability to build relationships so we can achieve our goals together with compassionate accountability. And in normal circumstances, we struggle with that balance of compassionate accountability every day. But under extreme stress like what we're seeing now, our challenge is compounded by overlooking the need to build relationships. Just achieving the goals is not enough if we destroy everything around us along the way. Remember, 2 heads. Who's your second brain? Who is helping you make those tough decisions while building relationships and being compassionate and making sure you survive? At Statarius, we've been very fortunate that all the companies we're working with through this pandemic are still working today because they're considered essential. And none of them have stopped the leadership development process that we started last year. I recently did a podcast with Matt Rocco, the CEO of eTech Global Services, and I love what he told his team at the beginning of this pandemic. You've been preparing for this for the past 20 years, he said. You see, through all those years, they have been developing these leaders to balance results and care for the employees. They've been preparing for this moment. 3,000 people pivoted to continue operations remotely in a matter of days and weeks without loss of operational excellence. That's amazing. Why are the companies we work with and eTech Global Services continuing to develop their leaders under today's conditions so they can be prepared no matter what happens in the future? Because we don't know what's going to happen. We are not going to manage our way out of this. We're going to lead our way to success. So what are you doing to develop your leaders? Rather than ignoring the need to develop leaders right now, maybe you should consider finding a way to do it now. Learning will be enormous. I like what Jeff Hazlett's doing. He's the chairman of the C-suite and other spectacular things, but he put a fire under all of us at the C-suite advisors and the company's leaders in the Hero Club to drive and thrive. No sitting around wondering what might happen. Get out there and help each other succeed, he says. We need each other. We need IGYB, I've got your back, more than ever. That's the essence of 2 heads. It is better than 1. Don't come back on leadership development when it's needed most. Consider hiring a coach to help you through this tough time. Help you be decisive, empathic, and comprehensive. And maybe that help by having somebody else to talk to will help you be more decisive, empathic, and comprehensive. two heads are better than one. Your coach can be that second brain to help with these tough decisions while being compassionately accountable. And let me know how I can have your back. Check out the C-Suite Advisors and find someone who might be able to help you. Good luck and be well. This is Dr. Gary making good bosses into great leaders with compassionate accountability. IGYB.